Hey guys, welcome to Between Rounds. I'm super excited for this one. I got Drake Davis in the house, Mr. Sip himself.
Yes, sir.
Student at the Gracie Academy, ex-college baseball player,
Yes,
and
sir.
now sports performance
Yes, sir.
guru. Dare we?
I don't know about that.
On your
but
way.
Hopefully.
On
Yes,
your
sir.
way.
Yes,
Welcome
sir.
to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm grateful.
Dude, I was thinking about it, and we were talking earlier about being nervous of these things, and this one I was more excited or nervous for. I don't know why. Like I've had some, I know a lot of people in the MMA world that have accomplished some stuff, but they're kind of friends. And,
Yeah.
And we spoke briefly last night. Like, I know you. I'm crazy about you and McKaylin. You guys are awesome people.
Likewise.
But like, I don't know you. So when I was trying to get ready, I was like, oh no, I gotta do good.
I love it. No, I was telling McKaylin last night, and I wrote it in the card that I gave you. 3 years ago is when we started coming here.
Wow.
And I'm driving home with McKaylin after because Z was teaching the fundamentals classes on Tuesday. And we took those. I would take those with McKaylin. And driving home with her, I was like, I want to have him on a podcast one day.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a podcast. And I didn't even have SIP or any of this. And I was like, I want to do a podcast with John Crouch. And then you asked me. And it was like this big moment for me where I just was so humbled and grateful. So obviously it means a lot to me as well.
Well, it's been fun to watch you, mostly on Instagram, and the messages are so good.
Thank you.
And the need for this kind of stuff in our world is so important.
Yes, sir.
You know, like we were just talking about Russell Wilson and his, what's that book called again?
It's called It Takes What It Takes by Trevor Moawad.
Yeah. And we were talking about that and what an impact that man had on Russell Wilson's career.
100%.
Now that he's gone, it's been a little rougher. It's hard to quantify it, I guess.
For sure. For sure. And I just think in any sport, it's very mental. And I played baseball. So in baseball, we would always say it's 90% mental. And most people train the mental game less than 10% of the time.
Yeah.
So in baseball, everybody wants to do more physical. Everybody wants to get on the mats more. Everybody wants to train more. They want to lift more weights, more cardio. And I just do think at some point, at the highest level of the sport, I think I heard Jared say this, the difference between good and great is marginal.
Infinitesimal.
Yes.
Tiny.
And so I'm just not sure how many more throws or how many more rolls actually make you better. I mean, you got to get your reps in, but at some point, I do believe that training the mental side of the game has at times a greater return on investment than just continuing to do more. So
I think every great athlete, like you hear Michael Jordan talk about it. He's like, hey man, 90% of the players in the league can do exactly what I do physically. They're great, but it's all, and he said it 90% mental.
Yeah.
And so it's, if somebody like that, I mean, you hear it from those athletes and just the special way their mind works. It's pretty amazing.
And it's something that can be trained. And that's a misconception that everybody has is like, oh, he has it or he doesn't.
Yeah.
And I think of the mind like a muscle. And it's a skill set that you're developing. And just as you develop a triangle choke through reps, you develop your mind through reps, through intentional drills, through just being consistent with it, and it's not sexy. There is no status gained for being good with meditation and being good with your process, but I think the mental side is very important.
As important as anything. Obviously you need technical skill, but if you can't get on top of that,
right,
if you can't drive the race car,
right,
you're not going to win the race.
Right, because the adversity will come. I'm watching a video of Tom Brady this morning, and he's like, oh, well, these guys could throw the ball 70 yards from their knees. And Tom Brady's like, and?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Who cares? How do they handle adversity? Because you might not handle it in your first year, but it's coming for all of you.
Yeah.
There are two types of players, those that are humble and those that are going to be humbled. Yes.
I agree.
And so you gotta know what to go to when those times come.
Yeah, especially not especially, but injuries are part of that. Like Brady, tearing his Achilles and coming back from that, and the doubts you have as an athlete.
Oh yeah.
Like, man, is my knee going to be the same? Is my shoulder, for you as a pitcher, is my shoulder going to be the same?
100%.
And coming back from that, it's pretty amazing to see him come back stronger.
Yes.
With the same intensity.
That's not by accident. You know? What's funny is when I played baseball, I had Tommy John, like this big elbow surgery, and I did it in 9 months. It's a 16-month rehab.
Yeah.
Did it in 9 months. Crushed it, no fear. I had none of that. I come to jiu-jitsu. I'm the white belt that's muscling up everything and pop my shoulder, right? And then I just popped a rib, like you know how that goes.
Yes.
And I am more timid in jujitsu than I think it's because I don't play sports anymore, and I'm like, this is a hobby. I can't be walking around with a limp, and Michaelin's like, are you all right?
Yeah.
But I've noticed more of the fear of failure in jujitsu than I ever did baseball.
Well, I think it's new for you, and so it's automatic that we have that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just want to be good. You know, the inner game of tennis. You know, you got to play like a child.
Exactly,
and forget-
childlike. Yeah.
and you drop all those inhibitions, you'll be fine.
100%. Yeah. The inner game of tennis is my favorite because it teaches you that self two, there's self one and self two. And this is a book I'd recommend to anybody, but self one is the very analytical mind. It's the judgmental mind. And I think that judgment is the enemy of creativity, of progress. And self two is like the intuitive mind.
Yeah.
And nobody gives self two enough credit. It's like the most inspiring thing. And jujitsu, I think it's why I'm so in love with it, because you can't be good if you're analytically thinking through every move.
You're going to be late every time.
Yeah, it's flow rolling is what they call it when you're going light, right? That's what I've learned, flowing, you know? And so you're flowing with it, and they make a move, you make a move, and it's an intuitive mind. And so like this is your conscious mind, your body is your unconscious mind. And so as you can learn to have faith and conviction and trust in your unconscious mind and let it take you there, it'll take you a lot further than self one, the analytical mind will.
Yeah.
I've been the guy on the mats that's trying to like watch everything you do and like think through it. But the better I can be about just seeing what you do, listening, because that's a part of it, and then holding that image in my head and then just letting it happen, it always works out for the better.
Well, that's why kids do better.
Exactly.
Like you can see a kid, he didn't care at all.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he's throwing a baseball perfectly. And he doesn't care.
Exactly.
He just wants to go play video games, you know?
Right.
And meanwhile, we're trying to be perfect.
Yes.
And it makes it so much harder to achieve well.
Yeah. And judgment is just a distraction. This is it takes what it takes, Trevor Moawad. Emotion is bias. Judgment is a distraction. The art is the act. And so the whole point is to experience, and the ego mind is just a distraction. It takes you out of the moment. Everybody talks about flow state, and then the inner game of tennis, he calls it peak experiences. Abraham Maslow called it the same thing.
Right.
And I fully believe that in any endeavor, flow state in a podcast comes from an intense commitment to the present moment.
Yeah.
That's it. If I can be present on this podcast, I'm okay with whatever happens. I'll be my best. But when you are judging yourself, when I mess up a move on the mats and I'm frustrated that you were there watching or whatever it is, it's judgment, it's distraction, it takes me out of the moment.
Yeah.
When I'm frustrated when somebody's mounting me, like distraction, what's my next best decision?
Yeah.
You know, so the whole idea is how good can you get at no matter what happens, staying in the now and making your next best move. Yeah. I don't care how you feel, I don't care what just happened, I care about what you do. Yeah. You know, and I think that's why the fight game is beautiful.
That's life in general, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the kind of give and take of you want to get as technically good. You have to pay attention to details. You have to master those things, but then you got to let them go and do the thing.
Exactly.
And that fight back and forth is very difficult. We were just talking about perfectionists. That's a difficult fight. Yeah. Because you're like, oh, that wasn't perfect. Meanwhile, the guy's already gone to the next thing and you didn't see it because you were watching in your rearview mirror.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I asked you in class one time, because I was just curious, because I work with so many baseball guys, I work with NHL, football guys, all these sports, and the UFC is one that I haven't really dabbled in. Jiu-Jitsu I have. But I just was curious, like how do you, this is my question to you in class, how do you train these guys so much that when they go out there, they can just trust it? And you said exactly that. They do so many reps of it, and you have a game plan, and you work that plan so many times that at some point they can go out there and just be unconscious. Yes. The book Power of Now is so good. And it talks about this idea of no mind. Yeah. Once again, flow state. No mind is just consciousness without thought. You're aware, you're in the present, but there's no analytical thought. And I ask you that question and you say to me, yeah, we just train it so much. And then at some point you go out there and you be spontaneous. Yeah. You're a fighter. You're a rock star. Go be a rock star.
Be an artist.
Right? Be an artist. Exactly. It's mixed martial arts. Go out there and just express your art and let the game take you where it takes you. And if you've done the preparation, you're consciously competent of what you need. Yeah. It will show up.
Trust yourself as an artist.
Have some faith. You should look up to self too. You should not look down on that intuitive mind. But self one is the ego. It wants to look down and tell you that you haven't done enough. You need to do more. And if there's like, honestly, the greatest thing I could hope for an athlete in the mental game to learn is the ability to know their unconscious patterns, to know that when John has that voice in his head that says, you're not prepared for this podcast or you're not prepared for this fight, to just be able to, from an observer standpoint, know when that voice is talking.
Yeah.
And it's not my job to tell John Crouch if that voice serves him or it doesn't, but it's my job as a coach to make you
aware of it,
conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah, online. And when that thought comes, you can decide, is this true? Or is this my ego mind that will always be there? You're not going to get rid of it.
No.
And then you get to decide.
Yeah.
That's agency, that's ownership, that's autonomy, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome. And that's true because our minds will lie to us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my daughter has some anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and as she's dealt with it and people talk to her, it's like, hey, your mind is lying to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not telling you the
100%.
truth. You don't have to listen to that.
Absolutely.
Like, you can be the master of those thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a difficult thing to do.
It takes you being present and it takes you being conscious.
Yeah.
Conscious is to be online, is to be the observer. The thought comes, it's like thoughts on a river, and you can just observe it, right? And there's 3 levels to maturity when it comes to your thoughts. The first level is a thought came, I need to fix it. I'm anxious, or anxious.com, so I'm anxious. The next one is, hey, I've started to realize that thoughts kind of come and go.
Yeah.
And the third one is that thoughts come and go like thoughts on a river, and I don't need closure for where they came from. And that's what you're saying with your daughter, is like, your mind will lie to you. You don't need closure for where that came from.
No.
Transparently, I started the mental game. I mean, I've been in this, my senior quote was about the mental game. How you do anything
in high
is,
school?
yeah. How you do anything is how you do everything. Excellence in small things is excellence in all things. And so I personally was somebody that always was very structured and very planned out. Like, everything had to be planned out to a fault for me. Right. And so I went into college baseball. I played 5 years of college baseball, was drafted out of high school, and struggled terribly. I was great at times, best in the team, and then I was the worst in the team at times. And so this ate at me. How can I be so dialed and go out there and not perform? And me wrapping up back up to what you're saying about your daughter, I always leaned on my own understanding. And for me personally, like, faith is a major part of it.
Right.
And I've worked in mental performance where it's not. And personally, my brand, my company is faith-based. I think that when I break down the mental game, it's faith, or you could call this purpose if you're not somebody who's religious, just like your own identity. And then there's creativity, and then there's a structure piece that we're talking about.
Right.
But wholeheartedly, when I stopped trying to control everything and I had open hands and I recognized that not all my thoughts come from me, it was the most empowering thing. In the Bible, it tells you, Romans 12:2, you need to renew your mind every single day.
Yeah.
Because these thoughts come, and the devil is a liar, and there's all these things. Even if you're not religious, you can take those principles and understand there's some truth to it.
Well, a lot of good athetes are faith-based because I feel like, for me, it's not like that. It's more purpose, right? Like, it's, for me, there certainly is a higher power, but I struggle to get to what that is. But I was just looking at John Wooden's Pyramid of Success, and faith was a big part of it. And I think that ability to let go and understand that it's not in your hands.
Exactly.
All you can control is the thing you're doing right then, right? Your reaction, your whatever you want to call it. But it's interesting you say that, because I think about that. I have different athletes that have different higher motivations, you know? And so to hear you say that, I wanted to talk to you about that, because I do think it's important that you're able to surrender.
Yeah.
I think when you're faith-based, that's already there.
It's available to you.
Oh,
it's up to you, right?
It should be inherent, right?
Yes.
It is in the message at any rate, you know?
Oh, it absolutely is. But like, I'm somebody that is in the Bible almost every day, and it's a huge part of my life, and I still struggle to have open hands. I just got a tattoo of open hands on my leg to try to remind me of it. But there's, on that pyramid, there's enthusiasm.
Yep.
You know what enthusiasm means in Greek? It means filled with God.
Really?
Yeah. And so it's like, if you can just get back to your roots. When you started fighting, there's a lot of fighters that listen to this. When you started fighting, it was about love. And it's a childlike love. It's enthusiastic, right? And what's also interesting about the faith component, Matthew 18:3 talks about the way to heaven is being childlike. And the childlike hoodies, everything, and SIP kind of goes back to being like a kid again. And you can take that as children are creative, children don't judge, children are in the moment, free of inhibitions, like you said.
Freedom is the base of that, I feel like.
Right.
They're free to feel whatever.
But also, from a biblical standpoint, childlikeness looks like making yourself less, right?
Yeah.
Not having a need to come across like you have all the answers. How many people in your jiu-jitsu classes have a need, or in any of your classes, have a need to come across like they know the answers,
Yeah.
right? Dependence. Like for me, it's dependence on the Lord, complete dependence. It's I'm not chasing status or any of that. You work heartily for the Lord and not for man. Like these are all biblical things. But I never had that in my career, and I had all the talent and I made nothing of it. And so through all the books I've ever read, everything came back to faith. And so in this time of working with athletes, a majority of the athletes I work with are faith-based. I've recognized that the foundation of confidence is faith.
Yeah.
Having faith in your training, having faith in the long term, having faith in the truth. That if you show up every day and you get on the mats and you just show up, and some days you show up with 30%, some days you show up with 100%.
Yeah.
But you just keep showing up. You have faith in the long term and the truth. The results will be there. You have faith in God. You have faith in yourself. Faith is a major part of it.
Yeah.
I also realize that to be faithful is to be courageous.
Because it's a blind belief.
Yeah.
It's the definition of faith.
Right. And what's the root of courage? It's vulnerability.
Yeah.
If you're going to go out there and fight in the UFC, you have to be willing to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
I watched this Jocko podcast, last thing I'll say on this, and he said, in order to be an effective warrior, you have to accept death.
Yeah.
Same thing in Band of Brothers. He said, the reason you are hiding, Blythe is hiding in the bushes while everybody's fighting during D-Day. He says, the reason you're hiding is because you still have hope that you're going to make it home, and we're all dead. And the sooner that you can recognize that is the sooner you can be, is when you can be an effective warrior. Right? All war depends on it.
Yes.
In the UFC, I'm not a fighter, so I don't want to be speaking out of my ass here. But at some point, it's such a volatile game. I'm sure you get cracked. I'm sure you lose. You get humbled. If you're training in the right way, what I've learned from you is you're not winning every round.
Yeah.
You know, you're putting yourself out there. And so that takes vulnerability. And if you can be vulnerable, you can be courageous.
That is a courageous thing for all athletes, right? Like even in practice, we were just talking about this. A friend of mine came in. He's a 6th-degree black belt. And something I always admired of him that I didn't have in myself was his ability to just put himself out there. Like he'd watch somebody do something great and then be like, hey, that was good. Let me try it on me. And he didn't care if it went good for him or bad for him because he was learning from it. For me, I was very ego-driven in there. I'm like, no, I just don't want to lose, which held me back so drastically, you know, and I think it's turned me into a better coach.
100%.
That I was such a dummy when I was coming up. Like it made me realize how badly that affected me. And so that's why I encourage you guys all the time, and other fighters all the time, to be, I don't say courageous, but to be courageous and try it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, like, then you know it doesn't work. Or you can work on the thing. Yeah, at least you know what's going to happen. Like, okay, this is going to happen.
Yeah. Those messages are always so good because for my first 6 months, I learned a triangle choke. In every single roll, I was trying to throw up a triangle choke.
Yeah.
And I maybe got it against some white belts. And then I went against a blue belt and got smashed. And so it's a good reminder that these things that we're learning in class, as you talked about Benson, you have to actually try them. That's how you get better at it. Benson, you said, would come in, I think you said Monday, and he'd drill it all day. And by the end of the week, he had the skill developed. And by the end of the year, he had 52 new skills.
Yeah.
That's the mental game.
How cool is that?
Yeah. That takes courage. That takes humbling yourself every day, waking up and saying, I might get submitted today because I'm going to try this, but I'm going to put myself out there because I have a long-term focus. I'm a clear thinker.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love you made me think when you said childlike, have you seen the Welcome to Wrexham?
No.
Stuff. Ryan, the comedian.
Is this Ryan, not Gosling, but it's...
I want to say Gosling, and it's not Gosling. Do you remember who it is?
He bought the soccer team?
Yeah.
He's Deadpool, right?
Yes.
Yes. Ryan Reynolds.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious almighty. And the guy from Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They bought the team together, and they have totally transformed a community.
Yeah.
Right? And the whole thing is cool that they were the first English football team to get promoted 3 years in a row. Never happened before. Of course, there's a giant influx of money. And, you know, Ryan Reynolds, like, he has all these sponsors. It's cool. Like, you know, it couldn't happen. If you and I go buy that team, that's not happening. We just don't have the funds to do it. At any rate, they get to the last game before they're promoted for the third time. And the Sonny from Philadelphia guy puts a video together. And he calls, they're bleeped out, but it's like Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, and Tom Brady are all the guys he called to pool on, hey, what do you do for a championship game? And the message was, you have to have fun. Go play like you're a kid. And the clips were those boys playing football when they were 2 and 4 and kicking the ball around with their mom. And it was powerful.
Yeah.
I went home and I didn't want to watch TV. And my wife's like, oh, our show's on. We like watching stuff together.
Yeah.
And so she's like, Rex, I'm on. You want to watch it? I'm like, I don't know. Started watching it, hit that. It's the best 7 minutes of television that I've ever seen.
Really?
And because they're such great Hollywood people, it's clipped just right.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to see it. Anyway.
I love that.
I played it for the team.
Yeah.
We got to play like we're kids.
Yeah.
Got to let it go and just have fun.
I have all of my athletes send me a picture of them when they were like 7 years old. Yeah. And I'll make it their contact card on my phone. So anytime they call me, no matter how big they are, I remember who they are. They're a little, but also I put it in their mind movie, which is a highlight tape. You got to remind yourself more than you have to be taught, reminded over taught. Yeah. So I want them to watch their highlight tape multiple times a week, if not every day. But in the highlight tape, some of these guys are putting up videos of them shooting threes as a 7-year-old kid, or playing baseball or playing soccer. And it's just humbling because it's always available for you. Yeah. And your ego and the world and your need for status and approval has made you shove that kid down. And this is my entire point of SIP, is you think that, and this is what I thought too, that to get to where I want to go, I have to be Mr. Professional. I have to come in here and put up a front every day and look like I have all the answers. And I have to be Mr. Serious all the time. And I was my best when I had fun.
Yeah, it's exactly the opposite.
Yeah, it's joy over duty.
Let it go.
Yeah, it's let it go, let it happen, right? And the kid that you shove down because he's going to hold you back is actually the kid that will take you to where you want to go. Your inner artist, is people will always say, is your inner child. Yeah. And so you have to nurture that kid because your inner artist is fragile.
Well, the world will squash you down, expectations and pressures and stuff, and that guy gets less important when he's the one that'll lead you through that forest.
Right. Yeah. And it's every single day you have to wake up and choose to be that person. That's a conscious decision,
That's awesome.
Have you seen Ted Lasso?
I watch it all the time. I almost more of my Ted Lasso jersey.
Yeah, you are Ted Lasso.
I'm going to grow just the mustache.
Yeah, but that Wrexham is
his line. I look like Ted Flanders cosplaying as Ned Flanders. Have you heard him say that? No, it fucking kills me. He does that press conference and all the people are mean to him and they're mad. And he starts telling all his cheesy jokes.
Yeah, I watched that for the first time and
isn't it the greatest thing ever?
It's the greatest show I've ever watched, and it's the greatest representation of leadership. And I think it's easy because it's a fiction TV show.
Yeah.
But
and super campy.
Yeah.
But there's a depth to it that is amazing.
I mean, he's throwing the darts with Rupert. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, I'm left-handed.
Yeah. Be curious, not judgmental, right? There's so many little moments in there that I mean, he's been on my vision board for the past couple of years to remind me what kind of leader I want to be. Somebody that's graceful, somebody that's present, somebody that's understanding, and somebody that moves slow, and I love Ted Lasso.
The funny part is I have a jersey and it's Danny Rojas. Football is life.
Yeah.
And that
I have a Ted Lasso sweatshirt.
Yeah. It resonates with me. Like Danny Rojas is my spirit animal. I want to be him,
Yeah. Football is life.
Gotta, that moment when the soccer ball kills the dog and he's all got the yips.
Yes.
And he can't get out of it. And then the psychologist helps him, or the team psychologist, and he gets they have that little puppy that replaced the mascot. Super funny.
Yeah.
But then he looks at that little dog, and goes, football is life.
Football is life. And then he nails it, I think.
I literally got tears in my eyes. Yeah. It's a freaking comedy sitcom.
Oh, I cried in that show many times. When he's leaving his family. Oh, yeah. It's the best show I've ever watched. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. I recommend it to everybody.
Me too. It's not for everybody, though.
No.
I try to make it for everybody, but they don't want to watch it.
Well, listen, we talk about childlike. Take me back to when you were a kid. Like, did you play sports your whole life? You grew up in Colorado, is that right?
Grew up in Colorado, yeah. I was born in California, but grew up in Colorado.
Where at?
Highlands Ranch is where my dad is. So.
Do you know my sister? I'm from Colorado.
Yeah, that's right. You were at Ralston Valley.
So just studying. Yeah, I taught at Ralston Valley.
Yeah. And I went to high school at Ralston Valley. Yeah.
I saw
Invisible string. Yeah.
that. Isn't that cool?
It's amazing.
I saw that this morning. I was like, you threw a perfect game there.
Yeah. No hitter there. Yeah.
No hitter.
Yeah.
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 You have a perfect game jersey on.
Yes. It was like a showcase. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But,
so you lived in Highlands Ranch your whole life?
So my mom was in Arvada, which is where Ralston Valley
Yep.
is, and my dad was in Highlands Ranch and still is. And so parents weren't together, and lived in Colorado my entire childhood. And I played baseball, I played football. When I was really young, I played some basketball. I tried basically all the sports. I did karate. Michelle Watterson was my coach.
The karate hottie.
The karate hottie in her backyard.
Really?
Which is crazy, in a garage.
How awesome
is
that?
I hated it.
You did?
Yeah. I wish I would have known how beautiful the sport was, but I just didn't know I was a baseball guy. But my older sister loved karate. She was good at it.
Did she?
But I did everything. And one of the mistakes I made in high school was I went on this visit to Notre Dame, and I didn't really have any offers at the time. And they looked at me, and I thought I was getting offered. I'm in South Bend, Indiana at a football game against Texas. I'm like, I'm getting offered. And they don't offer me. And they're like, we need to see more of you. And so I quit football the next day. I flew home and quit football. The next day, a month before season started. And I was like, well, I'm going to go all in, and I'm going to make the climb without the rope, and I'm all in on baseball. And it worked, right? I still got to go play college baseball. I had some D1 offers, and got drafted.
What position did you play in football?
I was a cornerback safety.
Are you fast?
I was. I wouldn't say I am anymore. I've blown out both my knees now, but I was.
Well, we get old and we're not quite the same as we were when we were, but you're not old yet.
I'm not old yet. Yeah. And I say to myself every day, my body's peaking. So
I'm almost in my prime.
Yes, I'm almost there. But I quit football, and I wish I didn't. And I just don't, I'm not sure, knowing what I know now, that actually makes you better. If anything, I think it makes you take it way more serious, and you lose the childlikeness, you lose the joy.
I was just going to say that. Because you got to have the love of playing it.
Yeah.
Right? And
100%.
And Notre Dame's opinion might not be Southern California's opinion.
Right. And here's the thing. Notre Dame never offered me.
Yeah.
So I quit football. I never got an offer from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Or Stanford. Those are my two top ones. Never got an offer from either of them. Right. But that's the self-one voice. That's what we were talking about earlier, the ego mind. You're not doing enough.
Yeah.
You need to quit. You need to do more. You need to wake up earlier. You need to get more organized.
Point at this only thing, really get intense.
Exactly.
Which can have, I find it has exactly the opposite effect.
A lot of the time, yeah.
You know?
And for some people, like you look at Kobe Bryant, yeah, he was that guy. But people don't know that Kobe Bryant also was a writer. Yeah. Kobe Bryant was a father, and he had his own struggles with family. But anybody that's a high performer should watch Kobe Bryant Muse, his documentary.
I love that piece.
Oh, I blew out my elbow. I watched it every day.
Yeah.
And you see how he loves his family. And I think he won like some award for writing. Like there's other parts to Kobe that you don't know about. There's a guy, Bill Beswick, sports psychologist with Manchester United. He's amazing. And he talks about real self and performer self. Performer self is where the ego comes in. When you're in that round, when you're in the cage and you got to fight, you got to have some ego. You got to like believe that you can do it. Yeah. But there's a time and a place to turn that off and transition back into real self. And not enough people do that. They go home and they play video games until 1 a.m. and then they come back in and they train again. Yeah. And then they go home and they play video games and eat and then they train again. And that's sweet. Like I think that's kind of the Khabib lifestyle, so maybe I'm wrong. But I do think there's something to be said about being a black belt in life, as you say. Yeah. Right? And I think consistent people are consistent performers. I think better people are better performers. Yeah. And so you should invest in those things away from the game as well.
I agree. I think it just makes you a better person and gives you perspective on the things that you're doing too. So you focused all on baseball, went well at Ralston Valley, and then you ended up at ASU?
Went to ASU my freshman year, was drafted to the Rockies, and chose to go to college instead. Yeah.
Is that the right choice when you look back?
100%.
Obviously everything's right. You know, we don't.
It's already written.
The road takes us where we go.
Yeah, but it was the right decision because I showed that I wasn't prepared for college even.
As a pitcher.
And in Colorado, you're a big fish in a small pond. Ralston Valley, Arvada, Colorado. Yeah. You think you're the man. Yeah. You're all conference, you're all state, whatever it is. And you get to Arizona State and there's 8 draft picks in that class and I'm just one of them. Yeah. And I'm the lowest of them. And then my roommate wasn't drafted. 3 years later, he's the first pick in the draft.
Oh my gosh.
$8 million. He's in the league now. He's a dog. And
you guys still stay in touch?
Here and there. Yeah. I mean, he's up there and I got my thing going. Not really, but he's a beauty. And you realize when you get there, everybody's good. Everybody's good at some point. And so again, back to our initial conversation, do you even know yourself? Do you know the things that make you good? Do you know the things to go to when you're sped up or when you're fatigued? Do you have things away from the game? And I didn't. And I got to ASU, and
what made you pick ASU?
Ego. Yeah, I had
It was the best school?
It was the most status of a school. They called it MLB University. I had full rides before full rides were even really a thing in baseball because of academics too. I had like a full ride to smaller programs. I had bigger scholarships to schools like USC, schools that were more academic, that were better people. And I chose a school that had the biggest names, Barry Bonds, Reggie Jackson, biggest commits, #1 recruiting class in the country. And I didn't pitch a single inning at Arizona State after being a draft pick. I threw over the top, and they dropped me down to submarine. How much do they care about me?
Zero.
You know? Zero. it's like telling a guy it's orthodox, right? You're going to fight southpaw. You're going to completely change who you are. And I lost who I was completely.
Yeah.
And then I blew my elbow out because I was throwing underneath and I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And then they cut me. That's the other part of this. And then they looked at me and said, hey, sat me down in the bullpen with 2 weeks left in the season and said, hey, man, just want you to know, like this time next year, you will not have a spot on our team and we'll honor your scholarship, but you're a guy that's hurt. You haven't shown us that you can do it. And we got to go find somebody who can.
Wow.
Just like that, transactional versus transformational. And there are people out there who are transformational, who love their athletes. And then there are programs that don't. And you have to have the ability to discern that.
Brutal.
I was 18 though, and I didn't know, and I didn't get into Stanford because I didn't get the ACT score I needed to, and I was crushed. And so I said, fuck it. I'm going to go to the best baseball school. And in 3 years, I'm going to be a first-round draft pick. And that's not how it went. And now I look back on it, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me. You want to talk about humbled? I look back at old videos of myself at 18, and I'm not surprised at the decisions I made and at the school I chose and the people I was around. And
did you feel like your parents were able to give you some advice on that, or was that something you just drove yourself?
So my dad and I are very close, and my dad has kind of always been that for me. My dad is Mr. Corporate. My dad runs Black Rock Coffee, so he's always been Mr. Corporate and Mr. Academics. And so our biggest knockdown, drag out fights have always been, what are you doing going to Arizona State? You have USC, you have these great schools, and you're choosing Arizona State. And I'm like, yeah. And I had to figure it out the hard way. And I wouldn't want it any other way. So.
Well, that's perfect. I mean, but so I heard you talking about Arizona State, just talking about your physical appearance. Mm-hmm. First of all, I can't believe they'd change your style that much. Mm-hmm. Like I try to, when fighters come in, things are wrong, but I try to work with whatever the clay is I'm given. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to try to build a statue out of paint.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that is shocking to me that they wouldn't take your strength and fine tune it, maybe adjust some things. Mm-hmm. But to totally switch you is weird.
And they had brought in a pitching coach who didn't recruit me, so it just worked out like that, and that's how it goes.
I guess it does in college sometimes. I guess that's not weird, but it seems so unfair.
I mean, what they did from over the top to submarine is out of this world. Crazy for a guy that got drafted, but the lesson that I learned in it, and it ties perfectly into what I believe about SIP, is that sports are a creative act. I love the fight game because it's mixed martial arts. And everybody's unique, and you escape competition through authenticity. Nobody's you, and that's your superpower.
Yeah.
I took a class with Alex Caceres, right? I mean, the guy's as creative as it gets.
Yeah.
He's himself. I've seen Benson. Benson's comfortable in his skin. Benson's fighting his fight.
Yeah.
Like as a athlete, you have to know yourself. You have to know what makes you good.
You know what saying I heard once? I wish I could replace who it was, but they said you might as well be yourself because everybody else is taken.
Yes, yeah. Kobe in his book talked about how when he came into the league, he tried to be somebody he wasn't.
Yeah.
And they shamed him for it, and they hated him. They talked all this shit about him, and then he was himself. And they shamed him, and so it's like they're going to have an opinion regardless.
Well, yeah, they're going to do whatever they do. Mm-hmm. Let's just be true.
Live and die by your
Pure.
sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you ended up going to Minnesota after that.
Yeah.
Was that a baseball decision?
Completely. Yeah.
So you didn't learn from the ASU decision?
Well, okay. Good. It's a good question. So I ended up getting cut. I moved home. I had Tommy John. I took 18 credits at a community college.
Oh, I didn't know
You
that.
just want to talk about the most humbling time of my life. Losing everything I knew, all the status, all the people. I had all these people I thought that cared about me. And I left ASU. I didn't hear from any of them. And I'm sitting in my dad's
That
basement.
just makes my heart break to hear that.
It's the lowest point of my life. Yeah. And I had my arm in a sling. I remember I'm doing like a biology lab at a community college in my basement because I'm taking classes online. And I got a 4.0 and I had 3 offers, Michigan, Mizzou, and Minnesota. They're all roster spots, no scholarship because I struggled.
Yeah.
And I went to Minnesota and the Minnesota nice thing was real. And John Anderson, who was the head coach there, looked at me and he said, I don't care about who you are at 20. I care about who you are at 60.
Attaboy.
And I committed.
That's what coaches should say.
And I was not the best at Minnesota. I was probably one of the best, but we had a guy that went 3rd overall, the best baseball player I've ever been around in my life, Max Meyer. But I was one of the best, and they believed in me, and they just gave me an opportunity to be Drake Davis. And I was really good in moments, and then I wasn't in moments.
Yeah.
And they still treated me the same. And I appreciate that. You know, that's what I remember about the experience is those guys, the coaches, they were consistent.
Yeah.
You know, and I appreciate that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
But so it sounds like that was great. How'd you end up at Santa Clara?
Yeah. So Minnesota was 3 years. My draft year was my junior year.
Yeah.
And they cut the draft to 5 rounds, so I didn't get drafted. Oh. Just crushed everybody in that draft class. And then I did my senior year, struggled a little bit, was really invested in the mental game, and then come my senior year, kind of abandoned it. So struggled, and then finished the season really well. Santa Clara was basically the exact same way Minnesota worked out. They offered me a roster spot. I said I was going to go earn it. And I went in and I gave up 1 hit in the fall. I gave up 1 walk. I just shoved. Everything I'd ever struggled with, I did really well. And then I went out in the spring and gave up a grand slam at USC opening weekend. And talk about what's your commitment to process. You're so good in the fall and you give up a grand slam and blow the save opening weekend is humbling.
Yeah.
And then had a good outing against Stanford and then struggled again and then went out against Cal Berkeley, got a start there and blew out my knee on the 3rd pitch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 3rd pitch of the game.
You just couldn't get any luck, it felt like.
Yeah, and I questioned it forever. That's where the faith component comes in. Like, what in the world? I've done everything I could. I lived in Washington with McKalen in a hotel room for 3 months, training every single day, driving 30 minutes to train in Washington, staying in Kent, Washington, which is a shithole. I remember watching, it was Volkanovski versus Max Holloway, Jorge Masvidal versus Kamaru Usman, McKalen and I in Washington watching these fights, loving it. But I'm training out there to try to give it one last shot at baseball, and I go there and blow my knee out. And so, yeah, it was a tough go, but it taught me everything I know.
Yeah.
You know, I learned everything through that experience.
Did that bring you back to Arizona then? So you're like Santa Clara, there you are.
And then I went to Colorado again, and I was in med sales for 3 months, transactional over transformational. I'm good on that.
Yeah.
Hated it. I needed to be, this is my favorite thing, is people, and med sales is not that. And so quit med sales after 3 months. I got an opportunity to come out here and work for a guy named Brian Kane, who's a mental performance coach.
Oh, that's right. We've talked about that.
For sure.
You gave me that stuff.
Mm-hmm. He's a stud.
Awesome.
And he worked with GSP. Fun story, GSP lost to Matt Serra. He made GSP carry a brick in his backpack for a month, like a mental brick, because he was so beat down about the Matt Serra thing. And finally, he's like, get this brick out of my bag. They take it to a river, and he throws it in the river, and it's like releasing the mental bricks. So for everybody listening, like GSP had the same stuff going on, you know, and had to work with somebody. But yeah, I got to come out here and work for him for 3 years, and I learned a lot. And eventually the faith component is pretty important. And so I just went off and did my own thing. And now I bring in the creativity and faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The SIP, how did that start for you? I mean, obviously that's it's become almost a buzzword, right? Process, culture, those words, they're obviously very powerful when they're used right, but sometimes they're just words.
Yeah, 100%.
So tell me about it. How'd you come about that and get it started?
Yeah. Well, SIP, my dad in BlackRock, they had something called Strategic Initiative Planning. I was like, oh, I like that. And I was like, that spells out. And he called it SIP. And one day I was like, I'm stealing that. And I made it stay in process. And Yeah, I mean, I've always loved the idea of process. It's your commitment to process that determines your progress.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just do believe that once you can identify a process, if you are courageous and consistent enough to work that process every single day, even when you're getting your teeth kicked in, even when you're losing, not affected by the circumstance of the fight, of the game, of whatever you're doing, eventually you get to where you're supposed to be. It puts you in the best position possible to be in the present, to be yourself, to be prepared. And all you can control in anything you do is your process. You cannot control the outcome. You can't control any of that. So you might as well commit ruthlessly to the things that you can change.
Yeah.
And that's where it came from.
And that starts as, do you feel like that's your base for what you do?
What do you mean? Yeah.
And like, do you base, I don't know, it feels like a cornerstone for you, I guess, if that's a.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's everything
accurate.
to me. Yeah, everything to me. My whole life is this. I study this. I do it in my free time. Michaelin hates me some days because it's all I talk about.
Yeah.
I take 45 calls a week with 45 different athletes, and I love every part of it. And I just believe that you can't really beat somebody who's obsessed.
I was going to say passion goes a long way.
Yeah.
You know,
it's everything to me.
Did you ever hear Kobe talk about his training? I get up at 4 so I can get 3 sessions a day instead of 2.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of obsession with greatness, you know?
And some people look at that though as like, oh, he's just more disciplined. And I think he is very disciplined. But some people, that's another buzzword, be disciplined, be disciplined. And I'm really kind of, I don't want to say I'm anti-discipline because I think that discipline is required to be great. But I'm far more concerned with the discipline that you have with your mind.
Yeah.
And with where you put your focus.
Well, what drives your physical discipline? It's got to be from here.
Exactly.
And then it's easy to be, not easy. It's always hard to get out of bed at 5 in the morning.
Correct, yeah.
Right? When you got to go run. Nobody wants to.
Exactly.
But you love to be great.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
he's waking up.
disciplined.
It's joy. It's love. And yes, there's some heart in there. But Kobe loved basketball.
Boy, did he.
Yeah. I work with an Olympic swimmer, and she said the best advice she ever got, she called this Olympian, this guy that always competed with Michael Phelps. And she said, I'm addicted to winning. He said, addicted? That's an interesting word. He said, every time I get in the water, I'm just trying to increase my love affair with the water.
Yeah, I heard you talking about that.
And I was
that line.
like, what?
Yeah.
Trying to increase your love affair with the water.
Yeah.
It's never been about winning or losing. It's about being the best you can be. Competition is low vibration. And I know it's part of the game. I can't look at somebody and be like, don't compete. Like, you're a competitor. But at some point, when you can get to the point where it's just you're expressing yourself, it's where you're
You know what's funny
best.
is it's human nature, that competition from the very beginning. It's
Yeah.
what I like about fighting so much is it's the first thing we did. Like, I want that food that you have, and to live, I need it.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to fight you. Or I want that mate that you have.
Yep.
I want that cave that you have. And so competition is inherent in us.
Absolutely.
And so it's hard to find, like, it's a new thing.
Yeah.
Finding joy in that. Like, not many people like competition. Makes you feel uncomfortable. Competition is itchy. And it's not silk sheets for sure.
Right.
You know, it's a burlap sack and you can't breathe good. And some people find that exhilarating, you know? Like, we were talking about this today, like the perfection, you want to be ready for stuff. I was interested to hear what you think, because I'm always the guy that I'm preparing, you know, but the last minute stuff to tighten it up, I leave it to the last minute. And I don't necessarily want to, but I kind of do it. And I've always been able to then do well. That pressure kind of guides me. You know what I mean? I wonder what that is, you know, because the discipline that you have, I don't have. But I like that adrenaline push that, hey, is it going to go good? You know?
Well, I feel the same ways in my own way, but my only thought on that would be non-judgmental awareness is the greatest thing you can have as a performer, which is not adding or subtracting from the facts. And the only facts that I know about John Crouch is he's an unbelievable speaker. He's consistent. He's unemotional. You know what you're going to get. He's reliable. Right? You're a great communicator. You're a great connector. And those are the facts. And the other thing is, this is one of my affirmations. I wrote it in the journal before this because I was nervous. I do this shit for a living.
Yeah.
You do this shit for a living. Every day you get up and you talk to people about process.
Yeah.
And so this stuff is nice, but at the end of the day, yourself too is far more capable. Yeah. And that's a choice. That's a conscious choice in that moment. Do you choose to trust yourself and look at how great it's been? I've enjoyed every minute of this. Or do you choose to be robotic and stiff and
And that's in performance in sports as well.
Oh, it's in everything.
I think sometimes it's almost like it's better to be dumber, and I mean that in the most loving way possible.
Oh, yeah.
But if you can just put the thoughts out of your mind and be present for what's happening, just win. I tell the guys, win the next moment.
It's so good.
Forget the last one.
It's a small focus.
Whatever happened, it's done. We can't change it.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go win this next one.
Yeah.
And you stack up enough of those, things go your way.
Yeah, it's a one pitch at a time mindset, one play at a time.
100%.
Kurt Signetti, Indiana, says every play is 6 seconds. Every play has a life of its own. That's Trevor Moawad. It takes what it takes. You have to study the greats and understand how they think. And everybody who's ever been great has a small focus like you just talked about.
Yeah.
And everything good for you happens in the present. But you said you could just get those thoughts out of your mind. I think there's something to be said that there are times where you won't, and that's okay. Yeah. And it's about you being courageous enough to observe it and not need to identify with it. And that's something you practice.
I like that mindfulness practice, you know. I was going to talk to you about some coaches. Phil Jackson comes to mind, but I heard him do an interview once. You can have those thoughts. And your analogy of a river is awesome because he said, you know, you're looking at the river and there's a log floating down the river and you notice it and you let it float out of the picture.
Yep.
And it's not there anymore. It's just knowing it's there, not caring, recognizing, but going on with the next thing.
But when did they teach you that? They teach you that in elementary school, right? Or did they teach you about geometry in middle school? Nobody teaches you that.
Analytical.
Yeah.
Get into the details.
And it's something that needs to be taught because your mind is a tool that's meant to be laid down.
Yeah.
And nowadays everybody indulges. That's the word to use. You indulge in it. You think you have an anxious thought, and so you identify as somebody who's anxious.
I hate that,
Yeah, and it's like, hey, how about this? The thoughts are going to be there, and that's okay. Great framework for anybody listening to this is RAIN, R-A-I-N. I'm going to recognize it. I'm going to allow it. I'm going to investigate. I'm going to nurture. So here's the process. A fighter is getting ready to fight, and he's feeling some kind of energy. My question is, where are you feeling the energy? Okay, I'm feeling it in my stomach. Can you just sit down and breathe for a second, and can you just recognize it? What are you feeling? I'm feeling anxious. Okay, let's treat anxiety or whatever emotion as a separate entity. It's a great way to practice being the observer. So we'll call your anxiety Alan. Alan like Alan from The Hangover. Fat Alan, right? And we sit down with Alan at this table.
It's funny because he's fat.
Yes, exactly. In the face. Yeah. So we sit down at this table with Alan, and can I recognize that Alan's there? Can I allow Alan to be there? I'm not going to say, Alan, get the fuck out. I don't want you here. I'm going to sit down with Alan, and I'm going to investigate. Hey, Alan, why are you feeling like this? And Alan says, well, I'm anxious because I got this huge fight, and I might get fucking knocked out, and then all this stuff. Okay. And then there's a nurturing process. Nurturing it might look like breathing through it. Nurturing it might look like your affirmations that you've already identified. It might look like your journaling process. There's no rules.
Well, but recognizing the things you've done that will carry you through, Alan.
And you'll sync to your training, right? And here's the thing is if you sit down with Alan, you just observe Alan, you let him just be there, eventually Alan stands up and he leaves. Thought subsides, emotion subsides. But that's a courage thing. We keep coming back to the word courage. But if you can be courageous enough to sit with that and to not identify with it, but to observe it and to confront it, it puts you in the best position possible to regulate yourself, to regulate your nervous system. You can only really perform to the level of your nervous system.
Yeah.
And the best part is when you train yourself to understand that you're not going to die and you regulate your nervous system, you increase your capacity for stress.
Yeah.
But it takes you being courageous to do that, you know?
Well, and then sometimes trained enough to get through those spots, right? Like you have somebody trying to kill you on your back, arm around your neck, your nervous system's going to elevate.
For sure. For sure.
If you've had enough training, you're like, I've been here before.
Yeah. There's a guy, Ken Ravizza, big sports psych, like OG of the mental game.
Yep.
This is like, we're Gracie descendants, right? Like there's a lot of mental performance coaches that are Ravizza descendants. Yeah. And Ken, there's an interview with him and they say, what's the best advice you could give any performer? And he's like, feeling good's overrated. Being in the zone, overrated. Feel shitty and get the job done anyways.
Yeah.
Right. And so it goes back to the Trevor Moawad. I don't really care how you feel. Right? We're going to process those emotions. We're going to have this process. But at the end of the day, when it comes time to compete, all that matters is a task at hand. Yeah. And emotion is bias. Emotion is a distraction. Any of the noise is a distraction. The opponent is a faceless, nameless opponent. We compete to a standard. We don't compete to a scoreboard.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to go out there. We're going to execute our process. We're going to focus on the task at hand. What do I need to do right now? I don't care what just happened. I don't care what needs to happen. What is important right now?
Yeah.
And that's it. That's a decision. You have your freedom of choice. You don't have the freedom of consequences, though.
Right.
You choose to have a big focus and worry about the whole fight, there will be consequences.
Yeah.
You choose to focus on one move at a time, being here now, there's consequences, but sometimes they're for the
They're
better.
better consequences. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how has this changed, like old school versus new school? Like, now we were talking about that a little bit, and I think about old school coaches, and my junior high coaches grabbing me by the face mask and calling me motherfucker, and it didn't really. Today those guys wouldn't be working, but I thought they were good coaches. I don't think that made them a good coach. But how is that? How is sports psychology or sports performance, how has that changed over the years? Have you studied any of that? Have you thought about any of that?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think it's changed a lot because back in the day, if you needed a mental coach or a sports psychologist, you were broken.
Yeah.
And now some of the best advice I ever got was that everybody is fucked up and some people are just better at hiding it.
Yeah.
And then what I really learned from being in the mental game is some people are just more equipped to handle it. They're better at managing it.
Well, just like basketball players, some people can jump from when they're a kid.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to practice more and
Exactly.
get your technique right to jump like they do.
Exactly. It's a skill set that can be developed. And so I think people used to view it as you had it or you didn't. And now people have more of an understanding. But the game has changed. And I watched this interview of PJ Fleck, who's a Minnesota head football coach. Met him when I was at Minnesota. He's amazing.
He is a very charismatic guy. I've read his book. What is it? Burn the Boats.
Row the Boats.
Yeah.
And he says in there, the hard part about being the standard is you are the standard. And his wife looks at him and says, row the boat. You are row the boat. He's like, go. She's like, go be about it. It's awesome. But he talks about how nowadays they're always watching you and everything you do matters. And you have to show up as somebody who's consistent and unemotional. Yeah. You're the same guy every single day. These players need to know exactly what they're getting from you.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't know if that really necessarily answers your question, but I think that the mental side of the game has become more prevalent. You can't ignore it because people are winning because of it.
Yeah.
People are winning because they're training their mental side.
I just wonder when that changed, because you look at the old coaches and just that toughness and the yelling and cursing, and but it did make tough men.
Oh yeah, look at Nick Saban.
Performers.
Yeah, I mean Nick Saban still is that guy.
But he changed a little bit. I don't remember what the year was, but he talked about, it wasn't going well, and he hired a guy, Nerves of Steel, Kevin Elko, and I listened to that CD set 7,000 times.
Yeah.
Talking about chopping the wood and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he helped develop a different culture, but Saban is hard.
Yeah. And Trevor Moawad also worked with Nick Saban. That's where Nick Saban got the illusion of choice.
Yeah.
Trevor Moawad comes into Alabama and he says, 2 things. Can we just commit to not saying stupid shit out loud? And can we recognize the illusion of choice?
I can't commit to that.
Yeah, I know, but
dumb things are coming out.
Yeah. But like the I'm anxious is stupid shit that you're saying out loud. Right? Like the words that you use to express yourself are the seeds of your future experiences.
Right.
Be very careful, and I take that very seriously. Language has power. Are you fucking pissed off or are you peeved? There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Are you anxious or are you feeling extra energy? Big difference.
Yeah.
And you have the choice to decide how you describe it.
Right.
And how you describe it will have an impact on your emotional state, and the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your emotions. Right? Emotions are energy in motion. Like it all counts.
Yeah.
Right. But the Nick Saban thing, like you're saying, he did evolve over time, but I think there's a blend, I don't think that it has to be all soft, and I think it's a blend.
Well, because sports are tough, man. Competition is tough. And you get a sport like, in my opinion, baseball's a little different, but the mental toughness part of baseball or golf.
Yeah.
Gosh, to do the thing right at those minute details takes such a laser focus, I think. Whereas football, sometimes you can let it go.
Oh yeah, it's tough. You have less time to think.
Yeah, and it's so violent and so fast. Just the tempo of the games are different.
Yeah.
But I just wonder, how the energy of that affects that. Like the mental training. Maybe the old school ways went, you just yell and scream. Because I remember as a kid playing football, right? I'm this 6 foot, 13-year-old, skinny as a rail, but bigger than everybody on the field, right? Yeah. And I, didn't do something right. I come over to the sidelines and the coach is like pulling my face mask, snapping me down, and I start crying because I'm a kid. I literally go on the field like water boy, and I just launch this other kid like I'd kill him. And the coaches are so pumped. But what a weird message
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, so I have to be out of my head to do the thing you're asking me to do.
And I don't think that's the right answer. I don't. And I think with Nick Saban, everybody knew what they were getting. And so he's consistent.
Well, and he's going to, you're getting, like you going to ASU. You're going to get the results. Like you are going to be drafted in the NFL. If you succeed in this program, you're going to play on Sundays.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And he has a stack of proof to show that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you kind of just
how do you get that? You know, it's amazing. I think about coaches. I look at Phil Jackson. For me, Phil Jackson, John Wooden, when he did it, when the Vietnam War was happening and all these teenage boys were trying to rebel, Bill Walton was a crazy person, and he was able to put all those championships together. And he taught, like, those boys would walk in, he'd be like, here, this is how you put on your socks.
Yeah.
This is how we tie our shoes at UCLA.
Oh, yeah. Everything counts.
Yes, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Exactly. And you're always practicing something.
Yes.
As you're talking to me and I'm scrolling on my phone, I'm practicing being somebody who's distracted.
Inattentive.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're drilling in class, teaching us what to do, and I'm messing around with my gi, I'm practicing being somebody who's not detail oriented.
Yeah.
And if you just hear anything in this podcast, it's that right there. That everything you do counts and you're always practicing something.
Yeah.
Right? The Nick Saban thing is very interesting because all 4 coaches in the college football playoff this year, the semifinals,
are under his tree.
They're descendants.
Yeah.
So what does that tell us? It's a language. The mental game is a language that can be learned. And you listen to Curt Cignetti talk, he leads them to their first undefeated season, Heisman Trophy winner. They're beating the brakes off of Alabama. He's a Saban descendant. And they say, what's the magic? You know what he said? Fundamentals. There is no magic.
Yeah.
It's a ruthless commitment to executing the fundamentals, and you cannot overlook the value of making slightly better decisions on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Fundamentals. Here's a fundamental for an athlete that's listening to this. You scroll on your phone for 30 minutes every single night. Every single athlete I've worked with, I've asked them, what are the 20% of habits that drive 80% of your results? Let's measure the shit out of those, and let's make sure we're executing those every single day. Call it a success checklist. Now, what are the 20% of habits that are driving 80% of your pain points? Every athlete. I have a professional soccer player in Belgium, Olympic swimmer, NFL, baseball. Every single one of them has, first thing they write, their phones.
Yes.
Right? And so here's the power of just making a slightly better decision. You scroll for 30 minutes every single night. What happens? I bought every single one of my athletes a brick. They actually sent me them. A brick locks your phone.
Yeah.
Can't access
I saw
social
that.
media. Yeah.
There's an ad for them on the
Oh,
thing.
yeah. And they sent me 50 for my athletes. You brick your phone, you don't scroll for 30 minutes. What's the second order consequence of that? Well, let's just ask you this question. If you spend an extra 183 hours in your Bible a year, do you think you'd be more grounded in your faith? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, if you got 30 minutes extra sleep a night, which is 183 hours a year, would you be healthier? Absolutely. If you spent that time doing nothing and you just sat with yourself, would you be more present? For sure. 183 hours of presence, for sure. You cannot overlook the value of making slightly better decisions, but everybody wants to change everything overnight. And it's like, brother, just get some sleep. It's got to be all
dramatic.
Yeah.
The TikTok generation.
Yeah.
Like it happens right now. If you didn't tell me your message in 5 seconds, I'm already on to something else.
Yeah.
We are seriously training ourselves to be idiots.
Mm-hmm. And it's a fundamental thing.
Dumber and dumber and dumber. I love that idea of the brick.
Yeah.
Actually, I just spoke to my wife today about putting our phones down and just sitting outside and talking to each other every once in a while. Because, you get to home at the end of the day, that's the habit.
Yeah.
And from probably for you too, social media is a necessary evil in our society today.
100%.
Like we talk about this, Destiny and I, all the time about, I'm so irritated that it takes me so long to do it.
Yeah.
I hate that I'm in my phone. I'd rather be invested in the people. But it seems like the balance is tough. Let's just put it like that. What would you say to that, to people like that?
Well, I would just say this. There's a guy named Cal Newport. He wrote the book Deep Work, and he wrote the book Digital Minimalism. And this jars me every time I say it. He says that an athlete's relationship, he works with Rory McIlroy, big golfer.
Yep.
An athlete's relationship with their smartphone, black and white nowadays, is every bit as important as strength training and as nutrition. Can you believe that? They are saying that an athlete's relationship with this little phone in their hand every day is every bit as important as what you're doing on the mats and what you're doing in the weight room and what you're eating. That's insane to me.
Well, it builds their mental, it affects their confidence. It affects how they view themselves.
Dopamine, it affects their attention, their focus.
Yeah.
I listen to this great neuroscientist and she has a book recommendation and they say, well, what happens if I'm not a great reader? I can't read that book because I can't focus long enough. And she says, well, if you can't focus long enough to read a book, what makes you think you're going to be able to focus long enough to change your life?
Yeah.
Right? Focus determines your future. Wherever your focus goes, energy flows. So like it matters. It's something that needs to be trained every single day.
Yeah.
The best performers are the most focused. You're talking about executing a pitch in a spot. You're talking about fighting. You're talking about hitting a shot, whatever it is. Focus matters.
Yeah.
You should be training it every day. What are you practicing when you're scrolling for 3 hours?
I always say that, put your sunshine on it. The flowers will grow.
Exactly.
And when you get negative, if people read all the comments, that they get buried in those. This guy said, no one knows this person.
Yeah.
That I suck.
Exactly.
And if you put sunshine on it, that weed grows.
Oh, yeah.
If you take the sunshine away, the weed dies. So don't put sunshine on it.
I love that analogy of a garden because your mind is a garden. And it's your job to pull the weeds and to know when the serpent in the Garden of Eden is talking, the devil.
And what thoughts to water, what habits to water, what
Exactly.
things you want to be great, they need sunshine and water.
And it's neuroscience backed. There's something called your reticular activating system, which is basically your filter for your mind. And I might not say this perfectly, but we're taking in something like 1 billion bits per second. But you and I are seeing this room and can only take in less than 1%. And so we're filling in the blanks. And so what are we filling in the blanks with? It's filled in based on our beliefs, based on our thoughts, based on our emotions. All these things matter. Right? And so what you focus on expands. If I asked you to look around the room right now and find everything that's black, do it real quick.
Yeah, I saw
You've
this
seen
Tony
this.
Robbins piece of
Exactly. You look around and you say everything that's black. And then I'd say, what's red? And you wouldn't be able to tell me what's really red. Why? Because what you're focusing
focused on the black.
The reticular activating system, the greatest way to say it, for you page for your mind. We just got done talking about social media, how addicting this is. Why is it so addicting? Because it's pumping you things that you love, that you care about, that you're invested in. Your reticular activating system is that for your brain. Whatever you consume, whatever you talk about, whatever you focus on, you will see more of it. It's like when you want the G-Wagon, you see it everywhere on the streets.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
and
very
it pops
real.
up on your phone for sure.
Absolutely.
Every time something we say today is going to pop up on our phones later.
Exactly. So
when you, gosh, this has been awesome stuff. I find that sports psychology, that Kevin Elko thing, it's Nerves of Steel is called, and I love him. Like he talks like an old Southern football coach, talks like that. Every story's like that, and for some reason that just pulls me in. Like I have to listen to him.
I like it too.
He talks about somebody goes, I already listened to that. I did already that sports psychology stuff. And he's like, well, did you shower yesterday?
Oh,
I did. He goes, maybe you should shower again today. And he talks about our minds being bathed in good thoughts, in good habits, in good things. And it's not enough just to read the book once.
Yes.
It's like you say, it's refreshed every day.
Yes.
Every day you wake up, you have to remind yourself of these things.
It's the biggest thing I've learned about the mental game is people come to me and they expect a fix. They're going to get on a call with Drake and now everything's fixed. Oh, I have nothing to do with yours. Like I'm the person that brings clarity.
Yeah.
Your success is your success. Your failure is yours. I'm bringing the clarity to you and it's up to you to take action on it. But there are people that are in the mental game and there are people who are into it. And I have been in this space for a long time and I've seen the best athletes in the world who are bought in and who are not. And the truth is about the mental game is every day you have to overcome yourself and you have to overcome your environment. Can you be greater than yourself and can you be greater than your environment? Yeah. If your environment is, I'm not in the UFC and I want to be, but I'm not, like you need to be greater than your environment and you need to think because the language for your mind is your thoughts. The language for your unconscious mind, your body is emotions. Yeah. We need to get our thoughts and emotions in the same direction. Hey, when you're in the UFC and you're headlining the fight and John is in your corner and your team's in your corner, how are you feeling? Get very clear on the emotions. What does it look like? How do you carry yourself? How do you walk? Are you drinking your coffee like a UFC champion? Are you showering like a UFC? It's an everyday decision. Yeah. Right? And then the question is can you choose, be present enough, conscious enough to choose to live out those emotions today, even though you're not a UFC champion today, because lack begets lack. You sit and lack all day. I'm not a UFC champion. I'm not a UFC fighter. You're going to see more reasons why you shouldn't be a UFC fighter. And so
if
you got
to do the things you need to do, you're going to start seeing yourself as that. I love that.
It all counts. Your emotional state matters though. And we're not going to have time to go super deep on that, but check in on your emotional state and you got to choose to put yourself in a place of gratitude. Gratitude signals to your body that you've received. So when you're grateful for being a UFC champion, it's signaling to your body that you are a UFC champion. There's all these things to it. But
I listened to Michael Gervais today because as we were speaking about sports psychologists, he worked with Pete Carroll and the Seahawks and was big there. And he has a mindfulness podcast that's big. Like,
I love it.
Good guy. He's great. Anyway, he has a morning routine that he does. And I was just curious, so I listened to it on the way in. And gratitude has been a big thing. Have you followed Penn State wrestling at all?
Yeah, Bo Bartlett. He always engages with my stuff. Bo Bartlett.
Yeah, Bo Bartlett.
Yeah.
And
Stud.
Yeah, he was a stud. Like a multiple time placer, All-American at Penn State. But all of them talk about gratitude. All of them. And you can tell they're being coached, which we all need to. And that, but Gervais was talking about how the gratitude changes your chemistry.
Oh my God.
And puts you on the right direction. And I forget to do that sometimes. I'd like to do better with that.
Me too. Matthew McConaughey got up there after Dallas Buyers Club and he gave that speech and he says, it's a scientific fact that gratitude reciprocates. And then Joe Dispenza, great author, great neuroscientist, he talks about how gratitude is the greatest state of receivership. All I'm asking you to do is understand that success leaves clues and so does disasters. And if so many people are talking about gratitude, it might be important for you to practice it.
I love that.
I sent this voice memo on Thanksgiving to every single athlete and just like pouring into them. I love you guys. I'm so grateful. Every single one got their own individual one. And I woke up tired at like 5:30. I'm doing it. And by the end of it, it's like 7. McKaylin's laying in bed. I am like hysterically crying. Crying because I'm so grateful. And it's a signal for us that we can behave our way into a feeling. That's all that is I practice gratitude so much that eventually I felt grateful.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. You're going to behave like somebody who is.
That's awesome. Yeah. I need to do better. That's a good reminder. And hearing it today was a reminder for me. There I am taking that bath for my brain again.
Absolutely.
Every day.
Every day counts. Yeah.
So if you could, to kind of wrap it up, if you could go back and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell him?
It's a good question because I have so many things I would tell him. But I would probably just tell him that no matter what happens, you ought to accept the present moment like you chose it and make your next best decision. You always have your choice. Man searched for meaning. He gets put in a concentration camp, stripped of everything but his choice. And the best thing you can have as an athlete, as a performer, is agency.
Yeah.
And agency means that you have the belief that you can change your situation. And if you have agency, agency will take you very far. Yeah. So courage, agency, vulnerability, and conviction. That's the sauce.
Courage, young man.
Yes, sir.
You're going to do it. And now you're here. What would you tell a young athlete today? Like if you do tell young athletes, like this modern age, social media, the pressure that's on, the attention we get for like scoring 10 points in a junior high game that was played in front of 6 people. Like they feel different things than athletes used to. What do you start with for those guys?
The fundamentals, doing the little things right. Everything counts, getting 1% better. Everybody talks about that, but 1% better doesn't make headlines. It's not sexy. But I think you start to teach these guys to put their validation in process or put their validation in God. Yeah. Marcus Aurelius says, what is clapping but the smacking of hands, and what is cheering but the clacking of tongues? It's just a distraction. It's noise. And so if you can teach those guys to understand that, and you can teach them to be consciously competent, you can teach them to be focused, they'll go far. And in today's day and age, the world is trying to steal your attention, and they're succeeding, right? 100%. And so it's never been easier to be successful, right? Because if you just have above average focus or just average focus, and you study and you can stay focused on one thing for an extended amount of time, you'll be amazing in whatever it is. But your ego wants short term. And so know that voice. And can you subordinate your ego and just think long term? And so it's teaching them the fundamentals of the mental game, which is long-term thinking, being in control of yourself, and understanding the importance of things like focus.
This has been great.
Yeah, I'm grateful for you.
Yeah, I was. You beat me to it. I was going to say I'm grateful you spent the time, because this stuff is so important to me. It's hard to mix it into coaching. For sure. Like we have such a limited time. I wish we had I wish we were the Dallas Cowboys, in that we had meetings at 9, this at 10, this at 11. We're going to practice at 3, and we had these processes. In this sport, it's tough because I have all these people from all different walks. They're all in different financial situations. They're all in different personals, which is true for everybody. But if you've made a team and that's your commitment, it would be easier. But I do struggle to mix in mental training with our physical training because we just don't have enough time.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been a part of 3 different Division I programs. I've seen many of the best programs in the country, and I've also been in your jiu-jitsu classes. And I've told you before that the best coach I've ever been around is you. And
Oh, dude, that's
I mean
good.
it.
Thank you.
And the way you love people, the way you show up every day is special. And you joke that you're saying that you're not implementing the mental game, and every day you implement the mental game. How many videos have I made after class?
Yeah.
It's just, are they listening? You know?
Yeah.
And that's their choice. They have their choice. You know?
Well, you helped me today. Like that's super kind of you to say, and I want to be. I'd love to go down in the annals as one of the best. You know.
are, yeah.
But at the same time, like I feel like there's always just that next thing. I got to get to that next thing. So your reminder today, practice today is going to be better than practice yesterday.
I love it.
because of our talk. So.
Absolutely. Thank you. You've
Thank
made
you
me
so
a better
much.
man as well. So
Wow,
thank you.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Thank you. Check out Drake.
Sip Drake.
Stay
Let's
in
go.
that process, baby.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.